Welcome to the Ellevate podcast, conversations with women changing the face of business. And now your hosts, Kristy, Wallace, and Maricella, Herrera.
Hello and welcome to the Ellevate podcast. This is your host, Kristy Wallace, with my co-host, Maricella Herrera.
Maricella, I am really excited about our guests today, and I think you will be too. We have Amanda Murdock, who's the Director of Fitness at Daily Burn, and I know you have been investing so much time in your physical health over the past couple months. You've been running, you've been really committed to that program. I think this is relevant to all of us who are figuring out, how to stay fit and healthy during this time, which also impacts mental and emotional health too. But I wanted to check in with you. What are some of the ways you've been keeping with your schedule during the quarantine?
I'm finding it really hard. I'm still very sad about all the races that have been canceled that I was planning on doing, my first half marathon and my second half marathon and a few other ones. But I get it. I get why things happen. But yes, it's been really hard to maintain some sort of exercise. I live in a very tiny apartment, so even moving to the kitchen just requires 2 steps. So I've tried to go out for walks and for runs a couple of times. I feel like while I'm outside and from what I've read, those are walking and running are things that you can do, and you can do them solo. I bought a yoga ball, which I still haven't blown up. I'm going to try and start doing some stuff at home because I really hate it, to be honest. I really, really have a hard time working out at home.
Yeah, I was going to ask, why do you hate working out at home? Is it because of that motivation?
Yeah, I have very little motivation to just do it at home, and also because I have very little space. So that makes it very hard too.
Yeah.
Do you work out at home?
No, although I wasn't before either. So I aspire to. I was supposed to be running one of those races with you, and was way behind you and Nikki on the training. Silver lining, I'm hoping to use this time, to focus a little bit more on my physical health. My husband, Jake, is someone, he was going to the gym all the time or riding his bike, and so he's been trying to kind of figure out the new norm and things we can do together. My daughter, Zoe, we've been doing gymnastics in the backyard and trying to keep the schedule, but she's used to being in the gym with the other gymnasts. And my son, Ben's been hitting balls off the tee. He plays baseball, but he's used to being with his team. And my husband, Jake, has been figuring out his routine, but he's used to being at the gym with his peers. And so I think a big part of this time is figuring out, how to maintain the fitness routines or create them like I'm trying to do, but especially during a time when we're used to it being tied to community. And that's what our guest today from Daily Burn is talking about. Daily Burn, for those that don't know, is a community that does a lot of online, web, mobile, TV, fitness programs. So it kind of gives you that virtual community as you pay attention to your physical health and well-being that I think a lot of us are looking for as we move our routines from the norm to the home.
Yeah, I'm sure that I would be much more motivated if I had that community. When I'm used to going to the gym, I'm used to having that community. So I'm really interested to see what she's going to say.
All right, well, let's get to my conversation with Amanda Murdock, the Director of Fitness at Daily Burn, and we'll learn how we can stay fit, stay connected, and continue to invest in our health during this time. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today on the Ellevate podcast. It's wonderful to have you here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are the Director of Fitness at Daily Burn, something that is ever more on our minds these days as we think about how to stay healthy, stay fit, stay connected during this time of pandemic. And I wanted to start just with some framing around how you became the Director of Fitness. What is your background and what led you to this place where you are today?
Yeah, first of all, so grateful for fitness in my life right now. I gotta say, it's a very trying time, and I think that fitness and any type of movement is a great stress reliever. So happy to be of use at this time. So I got started, I was in marketing and PR before I started doing anything in fitness. I did a yoga teacher training and sort of fell in love with teaching and yoga, and really felt like this was what I was meant to do. I was put on this planet to teach fitness. And so I just started getting deeper into it, really starting to immerse myself more in fitness, in the fitness space and exercise science. I got a great opportunity with a company called Aptive. I was with them as a teacher on their platform when it first started, and then they brought me in-house to sort of be the director of content and strategy for them. And so that was a real blessing in disguise, because at some point in fitness, and people in fitness will understand this, is you have to think about what's the next step, because, you know, your body is your tool in fitness, and body, we're only human, we can only take so much. So at some point, all fitness people think about this is like what their next step is going to be. And it sort of came at a really great time for me. So I moved in-house and started with them. I was with them for about 2 years, and then moved over to Daily Burn to launch their audio platform. And then from there was promoted to director of fitness. And I've been there for about 3.5 years, and super happy with them and really proud of what we're doing there.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Daily Burn?
Daily Burn is a fitness platform. We stream workouts. Basically, we have a workout every morning that's called 365, and it's live on demand as well, but it's live at 9 a.m. So we have a community surrounding that. We have live interaction, so you can chat with other people that are doing the workout at 9 a.m. And we have a rotating cast of trainers that come through and work out with us. And we also have several programs on our platform. So we have everything from pre and postnatal to strength building to Pilates to yoga. So we have sort of run the gamut of workouts on our platform.
That's great. Why do you think it's important for us to stay active? What are some of those benefits and impacts, and why should we prioritize that?
In just a nutshell, moving your body releases endorphins, which makes you happier. And that's like the most basic explanation. You move your body, it releases stress. And I think it's any type of movement. I think walking, I think doing yoga, I think HIIT workouts, like all those things. You find something you love, you just move your body, you immediately feel better. It can clear your head so that you can feel more grounded and more prepared to work. Like me and my fiance are doing yoga every morning before we start our day, just to sort of like ground ourselves, have a routine, create some normalcy in our lives. So I think it's so important to move your body, not just for the fitness aspect, for the health aspect, but I think it's just relieving some anxiety, releasing some endorphins, maybe getting a little sweat on to make you feel like you're more productive. It can also be just a mental thing where you just feel better, mentally clearer, like all those things add up throughout your day, and even if it's just moving for like 5 minutes.
And what did your routine look like before? And you mentioned you did yoga this morning. Like, how are you able to adapt during this?
So what I normally do is I do a lot of strength training. So my friend and I will typically go to the gym together. She's my like workout buddy. And she's also a trainer. We'll go to the gym and we'll do lifting. And that's sort of what we do most days of the week. So that's obviously off the table. So what we've done instead is I've been Zooming with her, and we'll do like on-demand workouts. My fiance will join us. We do HIIT workouts by Daily Burn. We do 365. We've been trying out some different apps just to see the competition out there. So it's basically been doing, I did order some weights that have not yet come. So we've been doing a lot of body weight stuff, doing lots of yoga. I don't think anybody's making any gains during this period of time, but I do feel like just moving your body and feeling mentally healthier is the best thing you can do.
What you mentioned, you had to order weights. What is the baseline equipment that someone might need to do yoga or to do one of the fitness classes?
You don't really need anything, because there's a lot of workouts out there. We have a ton of them that are body weight only. So you just need some way to get those workouts. So basically you don't need anything. If you want to level it up, you can get a mat, which you can get a mat on Amazon for pretty cheap. I like to have a heavy set of weights and a light set of weights. If you wanted to get even more wild, you could get some resistance bands, which those are also very inexpensive and quite readily available. If you were more attuned to working out and more adept at it, you could get some kettlebells. And I have a heavier kettlebell, and I ordered a lighter kettlebell because I like doing kettlebell workouts. That's a personal preference. So those are some different items that you can get. Also something that's not so great, I don't think, for New York apartments, but if you have steady or a better doorway, you can get a TRX system, which you can attach to your doorway, which our doors here are like so light and flimsy that I would break that thing right off.
I just love your Zoom accountability buddy and keeping that going. I'm someone personally who really needs that accountability buddy because I will default to doing work or doing other things before my physical health. And it's something during this time I'm really committed to changing, because I do see how much less active I've been being home, and I want to commit to that. I have some of my friends, and one of them is a Pilates instructor, and we're trying to create a regular accountability group to support each other and to do some Pilates together. And she had even mentioned we could fill water bottles or use soup cans or other things that we have in the home.
Totally.
And it's just really about getting started.
I've seen people get so creative. I saw one girl had like a broom, and she took off the broom part of it and put on things of Tide onto the sides for like a barbell. So there's a lot of things around your house that you could use. I mean, if you didn't have a yoga mat, you could use a towel. If you didn't have weights, you could use milk, you could use water bottles, you could use soup cans, you could use big cans of tomato sauce if you have them. There are so many ways that you can get creative, and body weight's great. I love body weight exercises. You don't need any equipment. You can just do push-ups and squats and glute bridges and bicycle crunches, and then you get your workout in. You could do that 3 times and that would be your workout. Just moving your body in any way is productive.
What's the minimum amount of activity we should aim for, and variety? Do you do something different every day, the same thing every day, an hour a day? I mean, what's the baseline here?
First, I want to say, pick something that you like doing. So if you have a lot of opportunities and a lot of choices while you're stuck inside, so you can sort of play with what you might like. So if you lean towards Pilates, like my sister loves Pilates and that's all she wants to do. And so great, go do Pilates. I like yoga. I sort of cycle through. I'll do strength training, and then I'll get back into yoga, and then I'll go back into strength training. At a baseline, I would love people to move at least 30 minutes. And it doesn't have to be consecutively, get up and work out for 5 minutes, go back to your emails, get up again 30 minutes later and move again. It doesn't have to be all in one chunk, but I do encourage people, especially you've been sitting all day, to move at least a little bit, get up and change your position or move your body in some way.
So I've been sitting in this chair since 10 a.m. Embarrassed to say now that you're saying that, but it's been back to back. But yes, I can feel it. I feel tight. I feel wound up a little bit. How should we be moving 5 minutes every hour? Is it you get up and you do some jumping jacks or some squats or just walk around the house? Any other advice for me and our listeners?
There's a couple different things. So what's funny is if you have an Apple Watch, it will remind you. And so every time my Apple Watch dings, my fiance and I get up and we move around for a minute, so we can get that hour. But that really is helpful. If you do have set yourself a reminder every hour to get up and move for 1 minute, for 2 minutes, whatever you have time for. In this setting, it's much easier for you, right? So we're going to pretend we're not in an office setting, we're all at home. So you can sit on the floor for a while and then uncross your legs and move from side to side. There are so many different ways that you can now work. And at work, you obviously can't sit on the floor, you can't kneel, you can't do any of those things. So for a work environment at home, it's easier to get up and move around and do some light exercising, just lifting your knee and doing some hip external rotation with the hip, doing the same thing with your arms and doing some chest opening exercises where you just reach the arms out, turn the thumbs back towards the back of the room and just open up the chest by bringing the arms back behind you. So those are just easy things you can do while you're at home, or you can move more, or you can do jumping jacks or whatever because you're at home in a work situation, but getting up and just walking around the office every hour, going to the bathroom, getting some more water, all those things help you get that movement in. Do cat-cows on your floor when you take a break from your work for a minute. That's great. It gets mobility in the spine. Honestly, it's just doing any type of movement. You can dance. All those things are good.
Well, and what's great about that too is there are things you can do with your kids or, others around you. So I have 3 little kids at home, and I'm just thinking as you're mentioning all of that, and I'm stretching out my arms right now because I've been inspired by you. I was thinking whenever I do that, I can also get my kids to do cat-cow or to do jumping jacks together, and it can kind of make it fun. But I'm worried about their activity as well. Yeah. They were used to just running all day long, and I want to make sure that they stick with that.
Yeah, I think I don't have children, so I don't know what that must feel like to worry on that level, but I can understand where you're okay, it's not just me that I'm thinking about needing to move, it's my little ones too. So getting them involved in exercise, they may look a little funny doing it, but they're so good at fitness, they will jump right in. And they love it. We have videos of children doing our workouts and we post them. We had kids that Skype in with their parents on 365, they get so into it and they're really good. Like they get really good. You're like, okay, who's the one that's been doing this longer, the mom or the child? And we just released 365 Fit Family, which is a program on our platform that is like family wholesome workouts that your kids can do with you. They're like very basic movements that, your kids can join in with. I mean, not asking your kids to pick up weights, but you can get them to do jumping jacks. You can get them to do cat cows. They can do some yoga moves with you. There's actually a good time to get them more interested in fitness too.
Tell me more about the Daily Burn resources. You mentioned the Fit Family, which I love. I'm going to absolutely check that out. You also mentioned there's a 60-day free trial right now. How would our listeners make the most of these resources?
So you can go to Daily Burn, you can sign up for our 60-day free trial, and then once you'll onboard with us, and once you get in, there's tons of different programs in there, but you can sort of filter it out depending on what you like. So if you like cardio, if you like strength training, if you like Pilates, and you can just sort of go through the list, and we have our program page. You can sort of look and see what catches your eye. You can go in and preview the workouts before you try them to see if this actually speaks to you. You can see which ones need equipment and what you might like. You can do that as many times as you want, and you can take 365 with us. We have it on demand. So if you don't come with us at 9 a.m. and join us at 9 a.m., then you can do it later on demand. And we have a community, a Facebook community that's a private community, but we want everybody to join and be part of what we're doing. It's so supportive. And if you're talking about an accountability buddy, our community is accountability buddy. Like we have one of the most supportive and passionate communities that I have ever been part of. And I've been part of a couple different communities. I must say that I love our community. They're very strong. They're very supportive. If you need help, you just post in there like, hey, so I'm going through. You'll have, 120 people immediately reply back to you and be like, keep going. You've got this. Like it's one of the most supportive communities. I can't say enough about it. So not even just working out with us, is amazing, but also being part of our community and getting that extra support, especially at this time, is amazing. It's very strong. It's very positive. So I would suggest that for everybody.
Wow. I mean, community is the backbone for so many of us right now, and feeling that support and feeling that love and connected. And it's great to hear that Daily Burn has that. It's something that is central to what Ellevate does every day. And I'm just honored, about the people that I've been able to connect with over the past couple of days, and we'll continue to connect with, and broadening your community, using this as the time to continue to make new connections and to tap into new resources is important. Thank you for talking about that, and I echo your passion for community and that support that it brings.
Yeah, we're fortunate.
Our last guest was Amy Service, who's the director of clinical content at Talkspace. We talked a lot about the importance of mindfulness and breathing during this time, and using it as a mechanism to manage stress, anxiety, or just, the weight of day to day. And that's deeply tied into fitness and your physical health and well-being too. So I'd love to know your thoughts on breathing and that type of work, as well as how do we get started? What are some ways for our listeners to create that practice in their own lives?
Yeah, I listened to that episode. It was great. Mental health is very important to your physical health. If you don't have one, you don't have the other, and vice versa. They're both extremely important. They're very connected to one another. Simple breathing exercises to do, and it's hard because nobody wants to sit for an extended period of time and just breathe, but you can breathe for a minute, and you just sit and you count your breaths. So breathing for an inhale of 4 and exhaling for a count of 4, and just following that for a minute or as long as you possibly can is a really simple way to breathe. It's just inhaling for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4. If you wanted to get deeper, you can hold the breath for a count of 3 and then release it for a count of 4. So you inhale for a count of 4, hold it, and then release it for a count of 4. So simple exercises like that will help you connect with yourself a little bit more. If you're holding anxiety or tension, whether it's in your shoulders or your jaw or your hips, those are just really simple ways to sort of check in with yourself. We also have meditations on our platform, which is another thing that I've been seeing requested from our members, is a lot of meditations just so they can sort of ground themselves at this time. And I honor that. I think meditating is a beautiful thing. I have a hard time with it personally, but I love the idea of being able to sit in peace with yourself for a period of time. So it's really nice. I do laying down meditations when I feel like I can do that, take the time to do that. And I feel like that's a really nice way to find that breath again. There you just have like an easy inhale and an easy exhale when you're meditating. There's no forcing of the breath. And yoga is another way. If anybody's interested in yoga, we're big on the breath in yoga. So that's another way to sort of take time to register in on your breath.
I've been utilizing that for breathing in for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4 in the middle of the night when I wake up. I've just been having a hard time sleeping, and it's been a really great way to calm my mind and calm my body and reset. And I would echo what you said. It's just a powerful way to kind of center yourself and focus on your breathing. It's really important. Amanda, I like to end these conversations a little quick fire lightning round, and it's just a kind of a fun way to close it out, to get to know you a little bit better, to be a little silly. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and if you wouldn't mind answering in 1 sentence or less, we'll get started. Introvert or extrovert?
I would say I'm an introverted extrovert.
Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Neither.
Ooh, I have not heard that before.
I like to go to bed early, and I don't like to get up early.
Who's your dream dinner guest?
Elon Musk.
What is your pet peeve?
Replying all when it's not called for.
What's your Monday morning staple? So food, drink, activity.
I teach yoga on Monday morning at 7 a.m., so that is my staple. That helps me feel grounded and ready to teach and work for the rest of the week.
What's your favorite recent read?
Catch and Kill.
I did read that as well. Very interesting book. Top self-care practice?
Body work, getting body work.
And is there one thought or question that you want to leave with our listeners today?
I think it's just checking in and see how you're prioritizing your health, whether it's mental health or physical health. Just seeing if you're really taking advantage of the time you have to press reset, this time working at home. So that's sort of what I'd leave everyone with, is just that check-in of how you're prioritizing your health.
Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today on the Ellevate podcast. It was an honor to speak with you, and I know it must be just a really busy time for you and busy time for Daily Burn, and we're excited that we've been able to share some of your insights and best practices and advice with our community, especially during this time.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was a real honor, and at Daily Burn really love our community and love people to be healthy and live healthier lives, so we are here to help.
Thanks so much for listening to Ellevate. If you like what you hear, help a girl out. Subscribe to the Ellevate podcast on iTunes, give us 5 stars, and share your review. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at EllevateNTWK, that's Ellevate Network, and become a member. You can learn all about membership and all the great things that Ellevate Network is doing at our website, www.ellevatenetwork.com. That's ELLEVATE network.com. And special thanks to our producer, Catherine Heller. She rocks. And to our voiceover artist, Rachel Griesinger. Thanks so much, and join us next week.